In today's podcast, we've got the one and only Beck Guy. He's using short videos and memes to inspire and help people with their fitness journey. And he's doing an amazing job with 240,000 subscribers strong on YouTube and 45,000 on Instagram. He's growing like crazy. Here is the full Beck Guy podcast. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I've just been sitting in my room and eating snacks and eating breakfast. How are you guys?
We're amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here in the podcast as well. We really appreciate it. And let's dive right into it. So we always start with 3 dilemmas. And
you got to answer as fast as possible, and then we'll get into it. So we will get into your answers, but you gotta choose one right away.
All right.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
All right.
Gotta be speedy.
So here's the first one. Only ever make meme videos or only ever make serious and informational videos?
Only ever make meme videos, I guess.
Okay. So, would you rather have a workout with Greg Doucette or Daddy Noel?
Daddy Noel.
Oh, okay.
I'd say.
Okay. And last one. Would you rather have a big back or a big YouTube channel?
Okay, I realized I've lived like 21 years now without having a big back. So I think I can continue living without one. So I'd say a big YouTube channel.
Okay,
Right.
Okay, cool. So you're not giving up your YouTube channel for that big back?
It's a hard decision, but I have to keep the memes up.
That's true.
And the reason why I asked about the meme channel or more serious is you just actually yesterday, as we record this, had a bit more serious video about an issue that you see right now, with comments in the YouTube and all those things. So that's why we asked, what if you could only do one, but you still said meme? Why?
Because I feel like memes are a necessity to today's society. Not just memes in particular, but like comedic style videos, especially in the fitness industry, because if you're trying to reach a larger audience, generally you would want to do something that applies to a lot more people, and being serious isn't just what applies to everyone. So I feel like comedy reaches out to a lot more people and is very positive in that aspect.
All right, so there's actually still a serious note to the comedy, basically, because it also has this important factor in everything.
Yeah, it is a serious thing, even though it doesn't seem like it. But my goal has always been to try to, it sounds really stupid to say influence, but to influence people for the better through like having fun and doing what you like. And if I can get more people to, let's say, lift or be healthy and respect their own bodies through just being a memer, then that's amazing.
Yeah, that's exactly my philosophy, what I most of the time say, as in I'm not the typical tutorial guy, do this, do that. And I noticed that you're not that as well, but I do still see a lot of people that really like, well, you especially, but also the way you sort of promote fitness, like influence, like you say, and really show, hey, you can have fun while working out. There's a lot of fun in this industry. It's not just steroids and people that claim natty but they're not, and just weak lifters and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. So I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, and maybe to round this off, so we went through your older YouTube videos. At some point, you made this transition to memes. Was it like very deliberate that you made this transition?
So you had a few vlogs.
Yeah, I had a few vlogs, but I didn't really feel like comfortable like filming and all that stuff. It didn't feel like I had a base to put that on as like a foundation for what my content was going to be. So I thought like, I usually get a lot of like funny top comments and stuff on people's videos, because that was what originally made my channel like grow, getting top comments on like bigger fitness people. So I thought like a lot of people like this like comedic stuff, funny side of these comments. And if you went to like a David Lade or Rich Piana comment section, you would see like the type of guy do comments and all that. And I found those really fun. So I tried like replicating that, but in like a video sense. So I think the first video I ever did, which was like kind of comedic, was like that one time Hafthor Björnsson tried the 501 kg deadlift at the Arnold Classic in 2018 or something.
The not clickbait one.
The not clickbait one with the not clickbait in the title. But yeah, I made that one, and it didn't blow up, but it was like thousands of views above what I would usually get.
Yeah.
And then I figured, people like this stuff more than they like vlogging, or people click on this stuff more than they click on vlogging. And I like making this stuff more than I like making vlogging. So I went on to make Larry Wheels Villain Laugh compilation video, where it's just 1.5 minutes of him laughing hysterically, and it sounds really artificial. But at the time I thought it was really funny, and I just posted that as like a joke, and it blew up. It got like 100,000 views in like a week, which at the time I had only like 2,000 subscribers or something.
I mean, that's still crazy. Yeah, that's still a decent amount for everyone. 100,000 views in a week. That's sick. So, I mean, that's exactly what I sort of. We did sort of the research as far as you can do research on someone, but we did, and I saw the sort of transition really fast to vlogs, and I explained it to Bob sort of as what I thought was what happened is that I think you saw that it was getting more views and it was doing better, and you probably enjoyed it more, that you just thought, let's go all in on that.
Yeah, I thought like, let's just do what I'm good at, and that is trying to make people laugh. I'm not really good at talking in front of a camera. I'm not really good at expressing myself like verbally. I'm not really good at that stuff, even though I can like edit it and make it like decent. I don't really feel like that's a natural thing for me to do.
Cool. And I think just to maybe round this one off a bit, one thing I really like about your answer is we had an episode on the algorithm just being released yesterday. And one of the things that what we spoke about when it comes to growing your YouTube channel is, well, one, start commenting on other people's posts within a niche, because that's a way to grow. Mm-hmm. That's what you did. Another thing we always say is do what you actually enjoy doing, so it's sustainable for a longer period of time, which is what you did. Another thing you said is vlogs are 2015. It doesn't really work again. And you basically said the same. So it's cool to see that you guys are both, saying actually the same thing with completely different channels. So I think that's super cool to see.
Definitely. So, I mean, I think you can express yourself quite well. But then this podcast is maybe a little bit sort of... Have you done more podcasts? Maybe it's a little bit new for you?
I've never been on a podcast. I've never actually had like a long conversation with anyone in the fitness industry or anything of this sort, I would say.
Oh, that's interesting. So we're the first time.
We're honored.
Yeah, for first time.
Sick, man. All right, so the next one's a little bit of a meme question as well, but I mean, Greg Doucette or Daddy Noel. I mean, brief explanation.
Well, I feel like I like both channels, of course. I like Greg. He's very like straight on guy. He doesn't really beat around the bush. He's really like, this is how it is, and that's what you're gonna do. But Noel is more like he takes that people are more individual into consideration, I feel like, and he seems like a lot calmer guy. So I'm not that, you never see me like screaming on a video or anything. Like, that's not my style of like being. So I would assume Noel would be my preferred choice if I had to choose one.
Yeah, and I also thought maybe the choice would be that, because he's more also not really meme, but he's really grabbing that more comedic style as well. He is sort of throwing in those memes or some funny bits in his videos, which is probably part of what is making him big. No pun intended, because he is fucking massive.
It's fucking huge.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that was my guess for you as well. So nice. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, and the last one, of course. I mean, because your channel's a bit more meme, our dilemmas are maybe a bit more meme as well. But we ask like big back or a big YouTube channel. Maybe we can go into that a bit. Like, where did it? It's something that we maybe would have gone into a bit later. But where did the name come from? Because we saw that you started your YouTube channel already with this name.
You didn't change it afterwards.
You didn't change it afterwards.
Yeah, the name Backa actually originated from back when I was commenting on videos before I actually published my first video. It was it was basically just my back was my profile picture, which reflects the profile picture that I have right now, which is just an anime like version of that original picture. But yeah, just commenting on different influencers, different fitness YouTubers and stuff. And every time I got a top comment, people would recognize that and say, "Oh my God, it's the back guy. He's here again. Fuck's sake!" And blah, blah, blah. So that was really where the name originated, and then I changed it back to my original name, Anders Kjelland, for a brief period of time. But then people said like, "Why the fuck did you change your name? That's stupid. Stop."
Yeah.
So I had to change it back, literally. So then I got more recognition again, and it was like more of a real thing because nobody had that name on YouTube. It was simple. It's like something that everyone can remember. It's something that it's really like easy to click on. It's like back guy. That's
it's an amazing.
That. Just like
it's an amazing YouTube name. You should definitely stick with it. Don't. I mean, your name is sick. Can you pronounce it one more time for us? Your real name. We said Anders or Anders, but it's more like.
Anders.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's,
yeah, so it's more,
okay.
yeah.
We'll refer to you as bad guy. That's easy.
Bad guy. Bad guy.
But yeah, I think.
Yeah, that's usually what people go with.
Yeah. Plus, again, what you say is it's so important to build sort of a brand and be recognizable somewhere. And I mean,
You
can't-
did that.
Yeah, you can't go much more like recognizable than this. I think so. I think that's super good.
But also sort of from the start, because you said you changed your name to your real name, but that means you started the channel. And as far as I could see, because you can see in the link of YouTube how someone really started the channel, it says Bad Guy. So you really started with Bad Guy. So you did already have it in mind.
Actually, I believe when I first made that Google account, I didn't pick like a profile name. I just had my original name put in. I didn't pick like a username. So I think I actually originally started as my real name, but then changed it to Bad Guy, and then changed it back, and then changed it back again to Bad Guy.
Nice.
So that's probably why it doesn't say like Anders Kjelland. It's just probably says Bad Guy because that was the first username that I used, but it stated my original name.
Cool. All right. So our next question that we always ask our guests is, what does a standard day look like for you? What do you do in a day?
Well, it kind of depends on where I am and at what point in time it is. Like, for example, there's a large difference between what I do in my exam period versus what I do right now when I got a lot of free time. But usually it's like I wake up somewhere between 7:30, 8:30, usually by myself. I don't really use like a watch or anything to help me wake up, but usually wake up around then, and I eat and get myself ready for about an hour, make sure I get enough fluids in and all that stuff. And usually what I would do is go to the gym around like 10 or 11, but that's not really like structured in a sense. It's more like when I have exams, I have to structure it like around a specific time because I have like specific hours where I'm supposed to work and specific hours where I'm supposed to train. But right now it's just like wake up, eat, then train whenever you feel like it, or just go out, do something with friends if the weather's nice, or just anything that makes me happy. And then after the gym or being out with people, you just go home and I'll just edit or read or just do anything productive, either for YouTube or for school usually. And that takes about, that's between like 2 to maybe up to 3 hours on a general basis, but might last up to like 6-7 hours if I'm really like invested in what I'm doing.
So it's really at the end of the day?
Sometimes, I mean, I of course I have like dinner and like meals in between that. And I usually, and I do all that regular ass stuff, but for the most part, it's just like work or do anything structured. And I don't like really being like at home unless I'm really invested in something. But if I'm at home and I don't like work, then I just watch YouTube, like do my thing, or just watch like anime, something.
Cool.
Just like I would right now. I just did that yesterday.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. So
What kind of books do you read, by the way? You said books?
I mean, I don't really like reading books because I feel like they're really boring in my opinion, but that's just me, of course. But I tend to read like raw information. Like I like to read like scientific articles and come to conclusions myself based on what is written there.
Cool.
So it kind of I don't really like reading like literature that is like fantasy based or anything like that.
Yeah.
I just read like factual information usually.
Hey, that's interesting. Yeah, and I think that also, you know, helps a lot with working out and other things if you actually just get the facts and cut out all the other bullshit which you would otherwise maybe find. Yeah.
So that is a day in the life of Bad Guy. We actually found a video, day in the life Bad Guy, and we watched that video, and it literally was working out, and another workout.
Yeah, I think it were several workouts in a day.
That was
Yeah, that was probably when I did a local powerlifting meet actually.
Yeah, it
where
was
I just did
powerlifting.
bench press.
Ah,
Yeah, that's like not a very normal day because I don't do powerlifting meets every day, but
yeah.
that's like if I'm doing a meet. But usually I will just either train in the morning or do something else, and then do school or work or whatever,
Yeah.
and then just do something I like in the evening or late night.
So not really a structure when it comes to a normal day. So not like a basic like morning routine or evening routine or wake up time or bedtime. So not at all. Or sometimes you do.
Sometimes when I'm in like a deep exam period, I do, but
Yeah.
normally I would not have like a very structured routine, just like general things that I go through every day, but it's not like I have to do it at that time or anything like that.
Yeah, makes sense. Speaking of study, what do you study?
I study human movement science at the Norwegian University of Science and Technology, and I just finished my bachelor's degree in that,
Nice.
and I've applied for a master's degree in exercise physiology, though I don't think I'm going to get in because I'm not too fond of my grades the past semesters, especially during the quarantine and pandemic. But I'm 100% getting in next year, and I'll still be very, very young, so it's not a matter of like I have to do it now, because if I got in now, I would by far be the youngest guy in that master's degree.
At 21
Okay.
years old.
I'm 21 now, and I'm turning 22 on the same birthday as Arnold Schwarzenegger, actually, on the 30th of July.
Okay.
That's a fun fact.
Yeah.
I mean, do you probably like everyone, but do you look up to Arnold?
I really look up to Arnold, actually, because I feel like we're also very similar, because in the summer, he usually travels to Tyrol in Austria, and that's also what I usually do every single summer. I speak a bit of German as well, and I've been to Austria many, many times, and I feel like he's like on the same like mind level as I am, like trying to think, being inventive and being original and doing his own thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like that, obviously, but Arnold took it to like
Yep.
the extreme, and he's always like there for me when like you have to find inspiration or anything to do something.
Oh, that's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. Have you ever met him?
I've never actually met Arnold. I would, if the pandemic didn't exist, I would have gone to some sort of Arnold Classic Expo probably, and try to get a meet him there. But I haven't actually met Arnold, though some of my family members have, like briefly. But
nice.
like
Cool.
I haven't met him myself.
When you get that big back, you will. You will.
Exactly.
He'll have to notice.
You'll have
You'll
to
have to
notice.
notice, you'll have to notice.
So you mentioned your studies. Can you tell a bit more? Because it sounds super interesting. What is it?
So it's basically like physiology, anatomy, and all that stuff about the human body. But it's also like sport performance, like at optimizing performance in every single field of like training. And it's also like statistics, analysis, and biomechanics. So it's like very science-y. So you have all the aspect of science, but you also have all the aspects of sports and physiology. So it's really like wide, because usually you would have like a specific education targeted to like one of those things, but human movement science targets like all of those things.
That's pretty cool.
That's
Do you
very
also
interesting.
do you feel that that's been beneficial in your training and workouts? The knowledge that you get there.
Yeah, most definitely, because now I know the fundamental principles of training. I'm like better off than most coaches would ever be, just based on that bachelor's degree alone. I already know like how you do statistic analysis, and how to perform like a biomechanical analysis on like specific movements. I know how to train individuals. You know how to train groups. You know how to rehabilitate someone. Also know how to maximize performance on a top level athlete and a bottom level athlete. It's like you have a lot of fundamental knowledge by going there.
You actually said in the beginning that you had sort of a hard time expressing yourself, but you do sound very well, as in, you know what you're sort of talking about. You really believe in yourself. At least that's what it sounds like.
Yep.
So I mean, I think that shouldn't be too big of a deal. Like you're very well spoken, so it's going very well. So actually, you're. So do you sort of see yourself? Do you think the language barrier, or is there even a language barrier, as in with your YouTube and everything you're doing right now, or would you rather start in in your like mother language, or would you?
I don't really feel like there's a significant language barrier. I mean, when I speak right now, I have like, you can sort of hear the thick Norwegian accent seeping through. Though I would normally, if I'm like talking formally, I would use a British accent. I would talk like this, but that sounds a bit artificial.
I like that.
It's pretty good though. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
So I would, throughout school and stuff, when we had like English stuff, I would always go with like the posh British accent. But yeah, as I said, it sounds kind of artificial considering I am not from the UK at all.
So you have actually had your study, and on uni you have everything in Norwegian, right?
For the most part, actually, the books and stuff are written in English.
Oh,
and
nice.
if we have one or more international students, the whole like basically everything will be in English. Like the teachers will speak in English, and as I said last time, we have a lot of Dutch people, Dutch professors, and they tend to mostly speak English.
Right.
So a lot of what we do is actually in English.
Nice.
Cool. Pretty cool.
That's sick.
All right. So we know you as Bad Guy, but you probably weren't born as Bad Guy. Well, we know you weren't. Can you tell us a bit more about the whole journey, like basically your life?
Well, I was born and raised in Norway, but I was born and raised in a very active family. Like my mom's a sports physiotherapist and my dad's a doctor, so health and physical activity has always been like a massive part of our lives. And my grandpa was also a coach, by other things. So I've always been like really active ever since I was a child. I've done gymnastics when I was like 2 or 3 years old, like probably most kids would have. And I did swimming for a long time, and I also did a lot of track and field, especially shot put and like sprinting. But I've always like been really, I felt like I never fit in to any like sport or any activity at all. I always tried to fit in based on my own standards, but I never really did. So to where I am now, it all began when my grandpa took me to a gym in Austria the summer I turned 14. And since I already had like a base foundation of fitness, I was already like really like into sports and all that. So it wasn't really hard to get me to join a gym. But he took me there because he felt like that would be something that would fit me a lot more than just like group activities and general sports. So I started just working out. He gave me like just a regular program to supervise me properly throughout the first couple of weeks. And I saw like great improvements, like in the chest press, for instance, because I didn't start off with like squat benching and deadlifting.
Yep.
But I started out with a lot of machine movements and a lot of more isolated movements. And I saw great progress in them. And that gave me like a sense of, I'm really good at this stuff. And I like doing this stuff. Like I assume most people who join the gym would experience, at least at that age.
Definitely.
So I felt like I wanna continue doing this. And when I got home from that vacation, I signed up for a gym membership and I trained like 5 to 6, sometimes even 7 days a week, just because I liked it and it gives me like a break from life, but it also gives me that feeling of having progress. You get addicted to it and just keep going, and that's what happened to me as well.
All right. So pretty cool. You said like you started with push press and all those things. What, based also on your studies, I'm interested because we had a podcast about calisthenics versus bodybuilding and also how you should start. What would you recommend someone who's never done any form of weight training? How would you recommend them to start based on your experience and your study and everything?
Well, there aren't really that many studies that go into the specific details on what you should start at based on your age and your physical fitness level. Though a lot of trainers and many experienced coaches would recommend that you start off with like more isolated, a little bit more safe movements. You wouldn't start off with like doing clean and jerks or bench press, squatting and deadlifting really heavy, especially if you don't got the technique down. So what I did in the beginning and what I recommend is starting off with more isolated movements, more like machine movements perhaps, but also implementing some free weights so that you can get used to them. But instead of like having that mental barrier of like going under the bench press and feeling just the bar shaking in your hands, to avoid that, you should start off with like a chest press machine or some variant of that, and then just increase the load slowly over time so that you feel comfortable lifting heavy. And then when you get to that bench press, you're more like excited and not just like scared that, oh my God, it's a free weight, it's gonna like break me. You feel like your level isn't like too far off that you'll be able to perform it correctly, and your motor pathways and all that stuff will be somewhat accumulated to that kind of movement. So I suggest starting off with machines and slowly transitioning to free weights, regardless of your age or maybe level. If you're like a complete newbie, I would suggest starting with machines.
All right.
All right.
I think that's basically the same as what we concluded.
Yeah, we did talk about calisthenics a bit, and we are biased, so because we are into calisthenics. But we talked about the fact that maybe starting off with your body weight, as in, because it is your own body, you are learning by just using your own body weight, no extra resistance in that sort of way. You're getting to know your body, and you don't even have to go to a gym. You can start, for example, right now and go to the ground and do a few push-ups.
Especially if you look at injuries.
Especially if you look at injuries, how would that sort of translate into beginners? So, as in a beginner, what's your thought on that? Is that sort of similar or even better than weights? Maybe to start off, not in terms of muscle gains or maybe muscle gains, but more in terms of getting started with actually just working out.
Well, I would actually say that calisthenics movements such as the push-up and sit-up and pull-up are very most people are very familiar with them and therefore have a lot easier time starting out with such exercises. They're not as perhaps intimidating in a sense. When you go to the gym and you feel like, oh my God, the bench press is so heavy and it's so unstable and blah, blah, blah. But when you go outside, you just do a few set of push-ups, maybe with a little bit of extra load to help increase that, the intensity. Then I believe that that's totally fine. And science has shown that as long as you perform the exercises with a certain range of motion and that you continue overloading the weights and all that stuff, then you can still make significant gains. So for a complete newbie, I would also suggest starting with bodyweight exercises. That's very easy to complete and it requires minimal resources. And if you're scared to join the gym, then your local park might just be the right place to start.
Yeah, or even your floor. And it's also about like building that habit. So not just going for the ultimate gains even though it could definitely be there, like calisthenics, and especially in the beginner phase, challenging yourself with bodyweight exercise isn't the hardest thing to do.
I mean, the pull-up can be hard enough already if you just start, of course, right?
Hard. So push-ups even. I struggled with push-ups when I started. Yeah. So and couldn't even do one pull-up. But it was more about like also building that routine. So I think that's what helped me a lot. I could just go with a friend, go home and go into my garage and do push-ups and pull-ups all 3 hours, for example, and really just do that 3 times a week and build that routine. So that's what helped for me, and not be intimidated by the gym, but definitely that's cool. That's also what we discussed there.
Exactly.
So
So that was how you sort of came to be that guy, at least how you went to the gym. Also, in that whole story, it's all about sports, basically. So as you said, your family was active in that. It's a very big part of your life, probably. Lots of sports.
Did you play any other sports actually before, like besides, did you play football or something?
I never played football, and as most people would, I assume a lot of your American followers, so they say soccer, but I haven't played football. I never played like handball, which is also very popular up here in Norway. I never played that. I never really liked team sports at all, actually. So I usually just did individual sports, like in track and field. That's also very individual when you do shot put or middle to long distance running or sprinting or whatever. You do that all by yourself, and I'm very fine with that. But again, it's just that being physically active is just something I like to do, and I always like to do, and I like to experience progress.
In terms of, this could be a great segue into creating videos, but in terms of what you follow, what do you do what does Bad Guy do? Do you follow any sport events, probably like weightlifting and stuff like that, really closely?
I do follow a lot of sports, especially winter sports, because I'm Norwegian, and that's the most Norwegian thing to do, essentially. But I'm also really good at like alpine skiing. I've done cross-country skiing a lot because every Norwegian does that. And also a lot, basically every single winter sport that is skiing related, I have done to a certain degree. But I also watch, like right now, the European Football Championships. I watched that. Yeah, because I was looking for you during the Dutch versus whatever
Austria.
Austria.
I was on
yeah.
TV. Yeah, I was on TV. I had my moment of fame, like one frame.
Exactly. And Holland is playing Norway in the qualification for the World Cup later this year.
True.
Just so you know.
Well, damn, we're gonna lose.
Yes. Anyway,
Yes. We'll see.
we'll see. Yeah, let's. So that was the story back. My sort of follow-up question on your whole story was: so how do you see that changing or evolving in the next 5 to 10 years? What's the goal? What's the dream?
Well, essentially, I see myself progressing a lot, not only on the YouTube spectrum. I see myself progressing in like the education field that I'm doing. I see myself getting a master's degree and PhD in the next couple of years. And I see myself working with sport performance and the best athletes in the world, but also like general health and fitness in society. But I also want to use my channel and influence to positively impact the lives of others, especially through physical activity. And I'm trying my best to do that. I'm trying to partner up with other like fields within Norwegian health and science and technology, and trying to just improve the lives of the general Norwegian person, man.
And worldwide as well, with your YouTube channel.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean,
Yeah.
my biggest like audience is Americans.
Same.
So I mean, they probably needed. Let's face it, they needed a lot more than Norwegians do, but it's really like just trying to positively impact and improve the lives of others while improving myself as well.
Yeah,
That's
but
really nice.
So how do you see that going back to the first dilemma where you said meme channel with the, of course, with memes you can also positively impact people, but it's not as much like value driven content as what you might want to do if you really want to change someone's life? Or do you think there's like a really good combination possible there?
Yeah, your vision there, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, I believe there's great possibility for combination. If you've seen like some of the best like top athletes in the world in different fields, they're usually also like they have a great personality. They're like funny. They do a lot of cool stuff that's not just involving the sport that they're competing in. But I think that humor aspect of like sports, exercise, and training is really, really important, and that it probably motivates a lot more people to get on to the fitness aspect of their lives and improve themselves. And I feel like I've already done that to a lot of people. I mean, I get hundreds of DMs saying just like, oh my God, this is so true and it's relatable and stuff. And that's why people want to, get on that. And I see that with comedy, you can reach out to a lot more people than you could if you were like dead serious all the time. Like I would personally not watch someone who's like really, really boring, regardless of if they know what they're doing or if they're like motivating or whatever. But I would never like watch someone who's just like really monotone and doesn't really experiment with like humor and entertainment.
Exactly. Yeah, that's I 100%.
Looking at your videos, I think you agree.
I 100% agree with that. That's basically the. I did make a few tutorials, and maybe you did as well. I couldn't find any actually because you went from vlogs to sort of meme content very fast. But I did a few tutorials, and I did like it, and I did try to add some humor to that, which was fun. But in the end, it was more about creating videos that could impact a lot or reach a lot of people, and in the same way, sort of show them, hey, this is the workout sort of niche. This is the workout people. Basically, it is fun. Join. Sort of change your life, but just do it moderately, do it with fun, do what you enjoy. And I would say that with the memes you show that the entire industry could be very fun as well. And it's not just yoked up guys getting, using steroids and getting big and only lifting heavy. It's also fun. It's really a lifestyle with a lot of fun as well. So I like that.
Exactly. You can take like I'm pretty sure you've seen like the videos of Eddie Hall and Brian Shaw and all that. They're like they're the biggest, like most intimidating people you could possibly ever meet. But they're like so wholesome, and there's like it's just a bromance, and that's like the spirit and the energy I feel like the fitness industry needs. And you also have that in people like that for instance, and maybe even yourself.
Exactly. So if we look at if you look at your last video, we talked about this briefly, but if you look at your last video, which was more on the serious note, which was actually had a great message because we watched it, and I actually watched it already yesterday, and I watched it together with Bob today, and I said we need to talk about this because it really goes into the not only all the beginner stuff we just talked about, but also the fun side of fitness, because it was about the sort of bad side of fitness. Maybe you can better explain what your video was about. It was very short, less than 60 seconds. It was a short.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was more or less about my experience and other people's experiences with like negativity in the fitness industry, like on both sides. If you're like a complete beginner, you would tend to have people trying to discourage you by saying, oh, you're weak, you're never going to make it, and so on, so on. But on the opposite side, if you're really big and you're really strong and you have trained for several years and worked hard, then people are trying to discredit that work by saying, oh, you're just big and strong because you took steroids, or we don't really care about you because you took steroids or something, and that's bad, apparently. So, like, I want people to be like more positive in every single sense, because we're not trying to tear each other down. Fitness should be about improving the lives of others and improving yourself along the way. And I know a lot of channels that are starting to take on that and start trying doing that, like Noel and myself. But it's like you have so much negativity for absolutely no reason whatsoever. So I think we should just continue spreading the positive aspect of fitness, which is what it essentially is.
Exactly.
Yeah, and not even just the fitness niche. Of course, that's where we know most about. But it's what you say. There's so many people who either want others to feel or want others to feel bad, or like, why don't you just focus on yourself and make sure you perform the best that you can, right? That's and inspire others.
And inspire others.
Exactly.
And the thing with that is that I find that there are people out there that literally, and I see them coming back in different comment sections, even on my videos. I have a different account, Shorts account, on the
podcast,
for example, podcast, and on other people's videos, the same guy, but also like different people. And there was this video from a calisthenics guy. I'm not sure if you know the front lever. It's a very hard exercise. Yeah, it's a skill, and it can take years to learn, especially like for someone that's big and tall. It can take years to learn. What's your length, by the way?
I'm just over 6 foot tall. I'm 184 centimeters.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So that would already be definitely a lot harder to learn the front lever. It would not take you weeks. Definitely not. It would take you months, maybe years. Probably months if you would train on it. Because I think you're a strong guy. But besides the point. So
It's mainly about strength of your back, your lats.
So,
So
yeah. But the story here is that there was a guy, actually fellow YouTuber, Brandon Williams. He uploaded a 50-day progress of the front lever. It was very, very nice. He worked his ass off. He did have some core strength. He was in calisthenics, but also weightlifting. And I think he all-around had strength. So it took him 50 days. Pretty tall guy, I think, at least tall enough for it to be challenging. And the front lever is challenging. And some people can do it in 30 days. Maybe it takes 60 days, but this guy did it in 50 days. Very nice, sick. And the only thing this guy commented was 50 days, that's way too long. It can take you a lot. You can do it a lot faster. Or he comments on someone else and say, yo, I like this better. There's no positive side to it. And you can also say, well done, man. 50 days, like you put in the hard work. You don't have to, like, you have to be considerate of every single person's body and not just think, oh, I did it in 1 week because I don't know, 150 centimeters and 50 kilos. No, not everyone is that. You have to be considerate of everybody's level, when everyone is doing stuff at its own pace. So I found that very frustrating. So when I watched your video, I was like, yes, exactly this. That was this sort of younger, small guy who 14 years old, I think, he started, and people called him weak for 40 kilograms on his bench press. That was in your video.
Actually, that was from my transformation video, so it was me that they were commenting on.
Oh, like it was going very fast, so I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, but it's like, it's just taken out of context, but it's like, that's what people say to people who are like beginners.
Yeah.
And that is saying that to you were 14 there?
Yeah, but it was like the transformation from 14 to 19 or 20. So it was like, I was already like at a very good strength level, but it's like, if you're saying that to like a 14-year-old that is just starting out, that's...
But I have a question for because both of you get these type of comments. First of all, how does it affect you guys maybe back in the day and now? And how do you start and learn to deal with it? Maybe so to give some more tips here to people who actually go through this.
I mean, I don't really take like those comments seriously because why the hell would you go on the internet and just hate on someone for doing something that they like doing?
Yep.
It's like I've never actually had someone hate on me like in real life after I started working out. Like you don't have people coming up to you and say like, "Oh, that's really weak." You just have them on the internet, so
Yeah.
that's a sign to me that they are really, really insecure about themselves and want to try to pick on others to make themselves feel better. And that's like the general sense that a lot of psychologists and stuff would tell you that they are just usually not in a good place themselves and probably don't see any progression themselves and therefore want to pick on others who are either at a lower level or maybe are having progress in life in general.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the one thing. So, but what would you say if it does happen to you or to, if you're 14, it doesn't matter how old, what you shouldn't, because it's easy to say, yeah, don't take it serious. But I think a lot of people it's still in the back of their mind and it still affects you. Would you have any tips like this is what you should do or try this, or is there anything you would say? It's a hard question.
That is really hard because I've struggled with it myself because I'm like, if I work hard on something and then people try to discredit that, then it's like, fuck you. Like, why would you do that? But I would just say try moving on. Try doing something that you like. Try doing something that you enjoy. Don't think about it, even though that's like a really general and normal answer to that question. But that's the best tip that I could give. Just don't care about it because those people are more than likely in a much worse place than you are. And you are grinding and you will become that king that you strive to be.
Very good.
Nice.
So I like that question answer.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
How
Yeah.
about
So
you?
in the beginning, I took it very personally every single time. Now I got a little bit sort of not even like mad, but just a little bit irritated about the fact that people are saying this to, well, first of all, 14 years old or maybe 15, 16. I had them back in the day as well. There was this one guy, I'm not even going to credit him, so I'm not going to even talk about this too long, but I got comments from a guy. He was literally saying to a 16-year-old that I was weak and that he wanted to fly out to me to prove that he was stronger than me. And he was literally probably like a 25, maybe even 30-year-old guy. So it was fucking weird. And this literally happened, and he kept on going. So I blocked him eventually on everything. So I found it super weird. But that part, just going to, I mean, we're talking about like underage or like younger people now. Could also happen to older people and still feel, especially if you're just new to the internet. Right now, for me, I just find that fucked up. But for me, I'm completely numb to it, basically. If I do read something and I'm thinking like, does this guy have a point? And then it's not even about if I'm weak or if I'm this or if I'm that. Then it's not even it's not even that. It's more about like, yo, you should do this better, or this is because they talked, for example, about the form of a guy I helped during a 90-day transformation of his pull-ups. And yes, his pull-ups could be a lot more stricter and a lot more core engaged or a lot more leg straight. Yes, but that is not the point of my entire transformation series. I want him to I want him to feel better. I want him to transform it. That was happening. He was making progression. And I also did not want to sort of discourage him by saying, all right, you have done 3 pull-ups. Let's now do them properly. And then he could do 0 pull-ups. Yeah. I wanted him to get, with still proper form, he was like, yeah, he could injure himself. No, I mean, he is not doing CrossFit pull-ups. He's not doing anything extremely weird. He's just lifting his legs up a little bit more. Yeah. It went from like 0 pull-ups basically to 9 pull-ups in that form. After that, he's now working on proper form behind the scenes. Also in front of the scenes, we have showed him that. And I mean, yes, you have a point, but you can also stop commenting on my videos, but also stop commenting on Reddit pages about me saying how shit I am. So that's a little bit further than, like, people take it next level. So that kind of bothers me sometimes, but even that is now sort of numb to me. But I mean,
I think to round this off, don't do that shit. Do what you did, or you did for the people watching. If you're watching on YouTube, basically, comment in a positive way, make sure you get the top comment, and that way it's not only cool to do and people credit you for it, but you actually grow your own channel, and that will help you. And I think if you want others to succeed and if you cheer on other people to succeed, Yeah. Then, this is only for the people on YouTube. We get some cool faces here from
Bad Guy.
from Bad Guy. If you want others to succeed, you support them. They will also support you in turn, and they will also want you to succeed. And that's the community that we want to create, where we just all grow.
Yes,
right?
definitely.
I think,
Be supportive, guys. Come
exactly.
on. And
All
drink,
right.
drink your water. So that's partly how you grew, with also commenting on bigger YouTube channels and really sort of getting top comments there. So if we take a little bit of a step back, you started Instagram around 6 years ago, maybe probably even for friends, just because everyone had Instagram. And YouTube 3 years ago. Your big growth really was 2 years ago, and you've been growing steadily since there. What was your sort of reason to start Instagram and YouTube? Like at first, like uploading your first videos, what was the reason?
Well, on Instagram at least, it was just to track my own progress, like lifting wise and stuff. Though I didn't really do a good job at that because I had like 2 videos every like 2 years, but still I managed to, I used it as like a platform to track my own progress. And at the time that wasn't very popular because in Norway we have this thing called janteloven, which means that if you are good at something, you don't brag about it, and people see posting fitness content as bragging about it. Take that however you like, but that's I believe that's more of a Norwegian thing than like a general thing in the world. But yeah, so I started really posting there just to track my own progress and stuff, and it made me like feel really good about myself, and that I was able to like outlift people. And even though I don't really compare myself to others, it's like really, really nice to prove other people wrong, especially if it's like, oh, you can't lift that much, and then you go and lift that much, and then you increase that and lift even more than that.
So you can't. I'm super sort of baffled by the Norwegian thing.
Yeah.
You can't sort of brag about it because, as I sort of said already, like I find you very well spoken and definitely also confident. You know your skills. You know what you're good at. Would that be considered a bit douchey? Would that fall under that category of not actually saying you're good at that, even though, like, it's I want to know more.
Well, it's more of a thing that Norwegians are very like, they keep to themselves a lot. Though most Norwegians are really, really friendly and nice, obviously, but it's like everyone's very, very introverted for the most part. So it's like if you are good at something, you don't really brag about it. And you can see that in like Norwegian sport athletes, and you see that amongst like rich people. Like if you're rich in Norway, you don't brag about how wealthy you are, for instance, and you don't buy like all this fancy schmancy stuff.
You don't, but you do see a lot of Teslas right there, right?
Yeah, I mean, in my town, I believe you have like every 10th person has like a Tesla, just because electric cars are super popular over here, and like you see them everywhere, like everywhere.
I think that's pretty sick. So,
That's
but
cool. Yeah, but that's
sorry, I just wanted to know a lot more. But let's get back to the story of Instagram and really proving people wrong and showing your progress.
Well, yeah, and maybe why did you then start the YouTube? So yeah, so you went from Instagram. When and why did you do the transition to YouTube?
Well, the transition to YouTube began when I was more or less inspired by other YouTubers, essentially guys like David Late, for instance, who makes like insane like good vlogs, and also people like Rich Piana and Jeff Seid and like all those guys who made like vlogs and stuff. And I find that was really interesting because these guys have like good personalities and they're like really cool guys. So I wanted to kind of replicate that, but I kind of really quickly figured that this isn't for me because I don't like standing in front of a camera. I don't like talking to the camera. I'm not like really, I wouldn't say like photogenic, but it's like I don't really like vlogging, essentially. So I could go like an entire vlog and just say a total of 10 words, and that would be the entire vlog. And I find that like I don't like this content. That's really boring. So after like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 videos, then I transitioned to like doing more comedic stuff. Like I remember when Haftor Bjornsson in 2018 or something tried to pull 501 kilograms on the deadlift at one Arnold Classic. I made a video of Eddie celebrating after he failed or something, and that gained a lot more views than I would normally have. Like I think he gained like 40 or 50,000 views or something, which at the time was a lot for me, having only like just over 1,000 subscribers. So I slowly transitioned into that, and the next one was like a Larry Wheels like laughing compilation, which got over like 100,000 views in like a week, and that was like insane for me at the time. So it's like, how can I continue making like comedic videos instead of just the typical vlogs that I would make that I don't really like making myself? So I slowly just transitioned over to more comedic content, and I found that those videos are a lot more interesting to make as well.
Yeah.
Definitely. So that is actually also sort of ties in with the you started off by being inspired and recreate that. That's basically what I already thought happened to a lot of people. Also me, I just started out because I like making videos when I was already 9, but I just saw other YouTubers do it when I was 13, and I thought I can do that as well. Let's make videos. I didn't care what it was about, and then slowly found what I was sort of good at, I think, or what was working. And you found it very quickly because you started a YouTube channel around 3 years ago, and within a year, I think you found the meme niche that worked really well for you. And that's what sort of grew your channel. So that's very nice. And that also sort of ties in with the question I had. Is there any strategy to you creating content? How do you, what's your plan?
For the most part, it's basically like I have some plans. Like right now, I have like a list of videos that I'm going to make throughout the summer.
Okay.
But usually it's just like, I feel like making something today, and then I just sit down on the computer and I be like, so what can I make? What is funny? And then just
Or what happened in the
think
world.
of something.
As in a big
Yeah,
sport,
what happened in the world?
Yeah.
Oh.
So if there was like a big sporting event, then I would maybe cover that and make like a comedic spin on that. But if it's like, I look a lot like that guy who plays in that series on Netflix called Ragnarok, so I might make a video on that just for the hell of it, because we look similar, and that would be a great clickbait, and people would probably think it's funny as well. So
I think so as well.
Yeah.
I think that would fit your content. And are you making something on what's happening with football right now? I mean, the Cristiano Ronaldo thing was you could have made something with the water. Maybe still.
I mean, I could at the end of the when the final has passed, I could make like a basically the Euro Football Championship or something. But right now, I haven't really focused that much on like other sports. I've been like slightly transitioning into like doing videos on athletes.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And implementing that, like with Haaland and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, for instance.
Yeah.
But I also want to do like other sports, and I did the Olympics, which got a decent amount of views. I think it's at like 250K or something right now.
I saw that one as well.
Oh, yeah. So those type of videos are like, they're a lot harder to make because, believe it or not, sports athletes in general don't really appear that funny oftentimes on the internet, at least, because that's where I look for information. I look on YouTube.
Except if you're Haaland or Ibrahimovic. Or
Yeah, so the Haaland is.
that's easy.
I mean, he's really young, so he's like more like awkward.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier to find like awkward moments of him and stuff. But for the most part, it's actually a lot harder than if I take, say, a fitness YouTuber or something.
Yeah, YouTuber is also probably easier because of the amount of content that is actually there. And they're uploading it themselves, so they probably have a little bit of humor in there. But there's just a little bit of flow. So how long would a video approximately take? It does not sound like it's taking weeks to create one, or does it sometimes? You do have 30-day challenges.
I had 100-day challenges as well, so that took over 100 days.
Yeah.
But sometimes depends on the type of video. Like, for instance, the one with Noel that I made just a couple of days ago, that one took like very limited time because it was really easy for me to find like footage of him, and I was like really inspired. But sometimes you could have like a video of for example, that one I made, how to actually get a big back, which is really clickbaity. That one took me like perhaps 8 hours to edit in total.
Nice.
And that's just because you have to like find these comedic pictures and moments and stuff and put it in place at the exact perfect time to get that comedic timing in. And you also have to like find the perfect pictures. It's not like just put in a picture of something random. You have to like put in the exact same words.
Yeah, it's funny because you two both really approach this completely different. Stan plans everything into detail. We had a little podcast about that last week, where you really prepare everything. One of the first things you think about is the thumbnail and the title, and then throughout the entire process, you really think about this should go fast, this should go like this for the analytics. And when you said like that took me 8 hours of editing, that Stan probably thinks, oh wow, that's my intro, because of the different type of videos. But I think it's cool to see how every niche and every type of channel just needs a different approach. Because if you would spend 100 hours per video, like Stan does, for example, that wouldn't work in your... I mean, it would work, but it wouldn't make sense. Not at all. But if you would spend like 50 minutes on a video, people expect something different on your channel. So it's cool to see how both can really work, and you should just do what works for you and the niche and the channel and everything.
Yeah, it's super interesting because I am always a big fan of optimizing videos. I mean, your videos are quite short most of the time and go really fast and are comedic and have that value. So there's definitely, there's not really comparing. You can't even compare the two types of content, even though we're almost in the same niche, sort of. You can't even compare them. But I do feel like there's such a funny different approach that goes against everything I most of the time say, like, check out what worked your last videos, check the analytics, make sure the thumbnail and title is correct, otherwise people are not going to click on it. And even though your titles and thumbnails are good though, and your titles are pretty like good, and your thumbnails are very on the down low, like it's almost like, I don't know, everyone could create that. Maybe that makes you relatable, as in it's a very basic thumbnail.
Yeah, that's my goal usually with thumbnails, is make it as clickable as humanly possible, but still making it as simplistic as possible. Like a really simplistic design that people can relate to. Like for the one that I made by Noel, I just took 3 pictures that I took from exact perfect times, time frames, and I just placed them in because I feel like these are very clickable. And that's just it. If I put like text on top of it, it's like, I don't feel like this is more clickable. If I add some effects to it, it's like, I don't really like that. So I try to keep it very, very simplistic and just find the perfect picture.
Cool. I want to stay with the topic of niches. We spoke about Stan and his RPM, CPM. Where do you fit in? Because we know that the fitness niche is relatively low RPM, like 2 to 3.
Lately it's decent because RPM 2-3 is actually pretty basic. I'm on the higher end with around 3 point something, sometimes even 4. Depends on the video. You will have that as well. But my channel is around 3 point something most of the time. But you have channels with 2 and especially shorter content. So let's exclude shorts. You make also shorts that are doing really well and grow the channel a lot. You're at 233,000 subscribers right now, if I'm correct. So you're growing really well with shorts. But let's exclude shorts. They're not making any money. I mean, I have 2 shorts, 45 million views, both of them, $10 in total or $20 in total. Crazy. I think YouTube is changing that soon. But yeah, what's your thoughts on that? Like, what's your RPM?
My RPM, I had to actually check it just recently. So I noticed that it was at like, right now it's like $2.80 something cents. I believe it was.
That's actually nice.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, but usually it depends a lot on the point in time. Like if I make videos around December, it's usually upwards of 350 and maybe even 4. And in the summer, it's also usually a bit higher. But in like January and February and stuff, that's usually when it goes like to shit and goes below 2.
True.
Oftentimes.
Yeah.
But it also depends on the type of videos that I make. As you said, with shorts, if I publish like a lot of shorts like I did the past couple of months, then it goes down a bit. But if I post like longer videos, like the one I made of trading cats for 100 days, then it goes up quite drastically for a short period of time at least.
Do you know what your best paying video was in terms of RPM?
The best paying video that I ever made is a video that is not on my channel anymore. It was basically Brian Shaw, but Brian himself actually wanted me to take it down. So of course I did that.
It was just a meme video, right?
It was just a meme video, but he's kind of like on that professional spectrum and stuff. He doesn't really like that. I believe another YouTuber made a video on that, saying that Brian doesn't really like to do stuff that isn't like professional and has him in focus.
All right, gotta respect that.
Yeah, I gotta respect that, of course. So but that video had the single highest RPM I ever seen on a video, was like upwards of $10, which is insane.
Yep.
Especially considering it's like fitness themed.
Yeah.
What was the title?
I remember it was just basically Brian Shaw. It was like one of those basically videos, very simple
it's
video.
so interesting. So I don't know how that would work. Are there people just want to
Maybe
put
because
ads
he
in
is
front
so
of his
on the
name?
down
and
low, and he was very popular at some point. It's like lots of videos about his diet and stuff like that were going viral. His
Yeah.
10,000 calorie diet. Maybe like there were some advertisers, supplement companies going crazy on his name.
Yeah, maybe, but it was also really, really clickable. I remember it having like one of the highest like click rates on a video that I ever had. I think it was like 32% in
What?
the first couple of 24 hours. It was like insanely high.
But wait, what I always learned from Stan is normally, there's if your click rate really goes up, your RPM normally goes down a bit.
Yeah. Well, if there's a lot of new people, if
Yeah.
your click through rate goes up, so that it goes quite viral. It depends on.
But normally your watch time goes down a bit because a
Yeah,
lot of
your
people
watch
start
time,
clicking,
so-
and if your watch time is lower, normally your RPM
Most of
would
the
go
time it is,
down
yeah.
if it has several ads. How that's so interesting.
But how long was the video?
It wasn't that long. It was like 4.5 minutes. Just like it wasn't even across that 8-minute limit. It was like just a regular ass video, and
I don't even know.
I don't have any idea because no other video has ever come even close to that.
That makes no
all my
sense.
other videos that get no, it doesn't. But all my other videos that get like the same click rate, like over 20% and stuff, they're just like really, really short.
Yeah, because that's
and
what the
longer
high
videos.
click-through rate. Because a click-through rate of 20+% is insanely high. I mean, I have videos with literally like 8 or 7%, and that is, or 6%, and that is considered really good. Especially, I have. If I talk to my YouTube partner manager, for example, at YouTube himself, he says that my worst performing thumbnails are most of the time still performing pretty good, and my best performing thumbnails are performing really good. And that is, then we're talking about 7% click-through rate. And some of these videos have a few 100,000 views, and some of these have millions of views. So yes, they're working. But 20+%, 30+%, and having, it's such a magic. What kind of dark magic did you use?
I have no idea because that video was actually the one that performed the best out of anyone in the first 24 hours of publishing it. At the time, I only had like 50, 60,000 subscribers as well.
How many views did it get?
I gained. What'd you say?
How many views did it get?
I believe like 400, 500,000 before Brian asked me to take it down.
In a day?
No, not in a day. It
Oh.
got like 250,000 in the first
Oh.
day, but over like the next 12 to 24 hours after the first day, that was when I got the mail from Brian's manager asking me to take it down. So
That's a bummer.
At that point, it was like almost around 500,000 views actually.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Sticking to this topic, so of course you have your YouTube ad revenue as one of your revenue streams. What other revenue streams do you have, and do you want to maybe build out in the future?
I do want to branch out in the future, definitely. Right now, I have my supplement sponsor, which is My Protein. Use code BACK.
Use code Brownie.
Do not use code Brownie. That
Use
is a
code Brownie.
bad code. You should not do that. And Vanquish Fitness, which currently sponsors my clothing. And Forged, I believe it's called. It's like a really shitty company. It's like not that good. But
Fuck bad guy. Okay, so that is also.
I also heard they just dropped you, but that's just
No, they just dropped. We just dropped that guy. No,
oh, okay.
link in description to the new drop of Forge London, by the way. All right, let's move on. So,
enough public placement here. Okay, so you have sponsorships, you have affiliate links, which some of these probably are affiliate links, some are sponsorships.
YouTube, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any merch you sell, courses?
I did have some merch for a short period of time, but I used a third-party site to sell that merch, which I didn't really like. So I wanna.
Nah, that
I
sucks.
wanna. that sucks a lot. So I wanted to improve that in the future, but right now I don't have any merch. I will probably get on that if I don't get into my master's degree this year and I go full megalomaniac YouTuber. Then I might actually make some proper merch for once. And I also get like rarely these like spontaneous ads on my videos, like Raid Shadow Legends or stuff like that.
Do you want that? Do you want that?
I'm not gonna lie, Raid Shadow Legends is like the most perhaps hated advertisement on YouTube. So
I've gotten like
I
10 of those. I can say yes to 10 of those right now. You can get them easily, but I would say Raid Shadow Legends is a bit like, if you can integrate it really well, it could be fun. But on the other hand, like, is it really worth it to promote a game?
Yeah, so that was my thoughts after doing it for the first time. I was like, this doesn't really fit in that well. But I'm also maybe working on with some VPN companies in the future,
Yeah.
which is, I guess, more acceptable. And also, my protein sponsors two more ads per month, and that's how they pay me, by my advertisement. So at least I have a few like external ads every now and again.
So we can assume that YouTube is now is your job. You're not working as a cashier or anything else, supermarket.
I might, you don't know that, but yeah, sure. Apparently right now YouTube is my main source of income.
Apparently.
I don't know. It's like, I guess like 50-50 between YouTube and sponsors at this point.
All right. So, but it's
It almost sounded like you actually still work in a supermarket, but
Yeah.
I don't want to tell. Right? That's
yeah,
how-
like your sort of secret FBI supermarket. Might be.
Might be.
So your YouTube is your full-time job. Besides, we do not have to forget that you are also still a uni
Yeah.
graduate.
Yeah, I'm technically a graduate, but I consider myself still a full-time student. But according to Norwegian law, because students didn't get any financial support during the pandemic, so according to them, I'm a full-time student and a part-time YouTuber.
Okay.
Okay.
So
your full-time job is YouTuber, and your most real occupation is still a student.
yeah, according to the papers, it is being a student.
Okay, cool.
All right. Cool. I think we have just a few more important questions.
Yeah.
The first one is, what is your superpower?
What
are
are you
you
good at?
really, really good at?
What do you excel in? He's spreading his less.
No, you don't want to see that. That's too small. But my superpower is probably insanely heavy lat pull downs. Obviously.
Had to be a
It had to
backer.
be something to do with
So
the back.
would this categorize under the Norwegian sort of don't brag rule?
Well, I mean, you don't really see many people going outside bragging like, "Oh, I can do the full stack on lat pull downs." You know, I'm really strong.
But if that's your
Normal-
skill,
Yeah, man. That's good. Plus, it fits the brand.
I'm
So,
yeah, of course, if it's the brand, that's
I-
that's the whole point of it. I want to be like the greatest lat pull downer in the history of humankind.
okay. So I mean, I like the answer, but I do think because you are such a well-spoken person, and also you know what you're good at, you are well, I would say proud at some points as well in maybe what you're doing. What do you really excel in terms of maybe fitness, but as in there's something more than lat pull downs. Something.
yeah.
I mean, I'm really good at striving towards my goals. I have like a written plan that nobody has seen apart from myself with my goals for the current future upwards of like the next 10 years. So I'm really good at focusing on my goals and planning that ahead. Though I don't really have a set recipe for how I'm going to achieve those, I usually do achieve those. Right. So with the help of YouTube and stuff, then I believe
Exactly.
my superpower would be chasing the goals that I've set for myself.
Yeah, and I think just writing down the goals and believing that you will be able to achieve them, the law of attraction, basically, you start actually acting and doing the things you need to do in order to achieve them. And if you are like, super strong in that, and I think that's a really good superpower to have. So
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
And I do definitely think that that's a superpower that fits you. I mean, no shame to the lat pull down
no.
strength. You're definitely probably like you're killing that, but I do think there's also why people might be listening or watching to this like a little bit more to back guy than just the back. We want to see the front as well.
Well, the front is at this point, the front is like 99% of my body because there is no back. But yeah.
Oh,
All right.
this guy keeps the memes coming.
Yeah, the
It
memes
is
just yeah.
amazing.
If you're just watching, listening on Spotify, make sure to always or also check this one out on YouTube because there's some meme faces here
There's
every
some
now
meme
and then on the camera. So that's definitely worth checking out. And Stan is trying to copy it now as well. So
Okay, so Anders, Anders,
Fuck's sake.
Anders. I tried to pronounce his name. Oh, we would say here just Anders or Anders. Anders.
Yeah, sure.
let's
I've
just-
never actually heard someone outside of Norway who can actually pronounce it correctly. So
Can you do it one more time?
that's very fine. That's very fine.
Can you do it one more time? I don't want to offend you, but can you do it one more time?
Anders.
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 Almost.
With the S at the end of it. Anyway, last question. Let's go. Otherwise, this could take forever. Just try to pronounce bad guy. So
A bad guy, yeah.
What is that's our always finishing question? Next big thing in the world. What's going to be either fitness or in the world or?
Well, I believe even like in the sense of like a revolutionary thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that physical fitness and health is going to explode in the next couple of years. Once, of course, I get my name on that science scene. But it's really, really hard to say exactly.
I would say the way you also spoke about the big difference that health can make, and the big difference that just people getting fitter, also what the world gets better, what gets out of that. We didn't talk about that, but I just wanted to get that out.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that yet.
I wanted to get that sort of out of.
Yeah,
out of
but you
out
said
of
like as you already said, so just rephrase.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Time wise, okay for the camera.
Yeah. Still
Okay,
going.
cool.
Okay. So I would say that what you said, fitness could be an answer. Fitness, as in that could be the next big thing, as in what people have noticed during the pandemic or everything that's going on. People have seen that they are either, not hit by the pandemic as hard as people that are overweight, maybe obese, are. Also in terms of hospital visits, but also just physical life, physical activities. Also, the more warnings you've gotten, probably maybe even earlier vaccination, stuff like that. I think it makes people think, and I think it's really exploding right now. And I noticed it in the calisthenics world as well. People are really wanting to learn how to start getting fit. What's your thought on that? I mean, you talk about fitness so often. You did say it is going like, What's your thought on that? Fitness, where is it going?
Well, I believe that fitness, because in the field of science right now, in rehabilitation, in diseases, and in every single aspect of like medical care and all that, it shows that exercise really is the key to everything. Like take low back pain, for example, which is what I wrote my bachelor's thesis on. Just the only thing that has proven effective as a long-term treatment is periodized or progressive resistance training. And medication doesn't really help it at all. But exercise really, really does. And that's like something I believe upwards of 90% of the world's population has experienced or will experience in their lifetime. And the same thing goes for like general diseases. You can have like dementia, for instance. Exercise tends to help that a lot as well. And you have like different types of cancers, especially the most prominent ones with breast cancer and prostate cancer. Exercise is really, really beneficial for surviving the treatment and surviving the disease itself. So exercise is slowly but surely gaining that traction within the field of like medical science. Because in the past, if you had like a disease or if you had like specific pains, then you would go to the doctor and they would say, oh, you just have to take care of yourself, just go easy for a few months and all that, and then your physical fitness gets worse and your problem will never actually be truly fixed, and you end up with worse physical fitness than you had initially.
Exactly.
Which just puts you at a high risk. So I feel like physical fitness is really pushing that agenda of being the main way of treating a lot of diseases, a lot of like lifestyle related diseases and symptoms. So I believe that fitness is going to be the next big thing, especially in the field of treatment, medical treatment. But I also feel like as more kids are joining more sports, especially in Norway, we have like a slight increase in kids at a young age joining sports every single year. as that increases, I believe that sports are also going to be a very, very important aspect of most people's lives throughout the next couple of tens of years.
Definitely.
Very good answer.
So that's that's super interesting. And also, what I found very interesting is that we talked briefly before the podcast, and it showed how much interested you are in fitness, and how much revolved around fitness you are actually like busy and sort of, I don't want to call it tunnel vision, but you know so much about it. That you also talked about the financial aspect to us about fitness and what it could do. You had some crazy numbers as well. Maybe briefly mention that. That was super interesting.
Yeah, a study that I read not too long ago, I can't remember who wrote it, so I can't cite it right now, but they made an estimate on Norwegian society and how much money Norway alone would save if everyone was as physically active as the minimal standard. And they said something upwards of the hundreds of billions of Norwegian kroner, which is like maybe 10 kroner is like €1 or a pound,
So
around
billions
there.
And billions.
Yeah.
Billions of euros, billions of pounds, you name it. So you can definitely benefit a lot, or society can definitely benefit a lot from people being physically active and physically healthy. And that also helps the mental aspect of health, definitely as well, like with depression and stuff.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. I think, I think that's an amazing way to end this cool podcast. A lot of value. And thank you so much for being here. All the links to Bad Guys, Instagram, socials, they're all in the show notes down below. And yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Make sure to check out the video about being nice to others and inspire people.
We will link it as well.
We will link that as well. It's very short, and make sure to do this face that Bad Guys do the entire podcast. Super epic. Try it out one more time. We'll see you in the next podcast.
Next one.
Baba booey.
Bye, guys.